Hi everyone, thanks for joining us for another episode of Eye on Hakko. My name is Kenta, and for today's webinar, I will be introducing the new HAKKO FX-971 Soldering Station. I'm really excited today to be able to share this new product with you, everyone. A couple of reasons why I'm excited about this new product. One of the main reasons because we really wanted to release this product earlier. To be honest with you, we were working on this project for a very long time. We wanted to release it back in 2020, but we all know what happened during that time. Stopped the world, everything shut down. We couldn't release it during that time, and it's been, man, now 3 years now, right? So it's been, like I said, it's been a long time coming. There's a lot of work that we put into this new station, so I'm really excited to be able to talk about this new station with everyone here today. Now, what is the FX-971? It's our new industrial grade single port soldering station. It's 100 watts. There's 4 different types of handpiece that you can actually plug into the single port station. New handpieces along with new series of tips. We got a new iron holder. We got a completely new design on the station itself, improved performance, better user interface, and a new Hakko Control Software. That's a lot of stuff that I'm going to be going over with everyone today. So make sure you grab a seat, sit down, and pay attention. So I'm going to be talking about the station. I'll be going over the operation, the iron holder, all that. And then in between, I'll be doing a little bit of a comparison, comparing it with the 951 and the 971, just a quick comparison. And towards the very end, I'll be doing giving a show of how the Hakko Control Software works. All right, so starting off, let's start off with the station, yeah? So let's just, take a look. That's the side, that's the front of the station, and that's the back of the station. There's slots so you can carry it. There's a nice flat top on the surface. It'll take a minute here, hold on. Man, it looks good, right? Man, I mean, it looks good. It looks good. I mean, I think it looks good. It looks really good. Flat top again on the surface. You could put things on top. See that? Nice. It even has a nice feature where you can press the button in the back. What that does is it'll give it a nice little angle when you look at the display. Now, if you don't want to use that angle, cool. You can press that button, bring it back up top, make that nice, looks fresh. Man, it looks good. Looks good, right? Yeah. All right. So that's just starting off with the station itself. It's a completely redesigned station on the FX-971. Looks different from our traditional or conventional soldering iron stations, right? The engineers really took the time to put some time into designing the new station, so I'm really appreciative for them for doing that. Also, like I said, new series of handpieces that you can use on the 971. Let's get into the handpieces, shall we? So there's a total of 4 different handpieces that you can actually plug into the 971, but mainly they are the standard and the micro, if I were to categorize it that way. One is called the FX-971. That's the standard iron. There's also a standard nitrogen version called the FX-9702, right? But these standard irons, whether they're standard or standard nitrogen, they're 95 watts of power. Compared to the previous model on the FM 2027, they were 70 watts of power, right? But on the new one, they're 95 watts of power. You can see it's a nice new single piece handpiece design. Simply have to remove the tip and put it in. No more 2-piece design like you saw on the FM 2027. Again, a single 95 watt single piece handpiece FX-971. The tips, there's a brand new series of tips that go along with the new handpiece. They're called T39 series of tips. In total, there will be 67 different tip shapes or variations that you'll be able to choose from when we're talking about the T39 series of tips. And again, you can use these on the standard 9701 and the standard 9702 handpieces, okay? Now the iron holder, again, this is a brand new design of an iron holder that you see here, right? we added in a feature on the new iron holders where there's 2 slots, right? This one's for a standard iron, this one's for nitrogen irons. But what you can do when using the iron holder is you can simply remove and exchange your tips. That's quick, fast, easy, it was safe. That's a very nice feature, in my opinion, that we added into our new iron holders. The iron holder is called FH215, by the way. There's also tip holders in the back, if we could get that back angle right here for tip storage. So if you have extra tips, you keep it back here. And again, you can use a tip removal mechanism and exchange the tips easily, safely, quickly. It comes with a cleaning sponge, comes with a cleaning brass wire, right? There's also a knob on the side. That's if you wanted to adjust the angle a little bit of your receptacle, it'll allow you to do so, right? Now when you're through, well, not when you're through, but as you're using the iron holder and you want to empty it out, it's easy. There's a button or a tab in the back of the holder right here. I just press down on it, remove, it'll give you access. You can clean out the collected solder that's collected down below, or you can use this time to, you know, rotate or flip off your brass wires as well. When you're done, simply place it back in place and you're ready to go. And you'll also notice on our new iron holders, there's no more sleep cord connecting from the back of the holder to the back of the station. So it's a completely cordless sleep on the holders. Everything is built into the handpiece itself. So that's the standard iron with the T39 new series of tips, new iron holder. Same thing, similar thing when you're talking about the other handpiece that you can use on the FX-971. This is the micro iron. It's called the FX-9703. And again, the micro nitrogen version of this is called the FX-9704. But you can see, if I give you a comparison, a difference in size between the micro and the standard iron, right? One's micro iron is obviously slimmer, it's a lot shorter. That enables the operator to comfortably work under a microscope, because we all know when you're looking down on a microscope, there's limited space between the scope and your application. So this is great for anyone working under a microscope. You can see some of the micro tips that I have placed in the back of the iron holder, right? That's a micro iron compared to a standard iron, right? So again, these micro irons are meant for soldering micro components, great when using under a microscope. Now the series of tips, they're called T50 series of tips. And in total, there are 8 different tip shapes that you can use on the micro iron. Okay, again, T50 series of tips, 8 different shapes that you can choose from. Now when it comes to the holder of the micro iron, similar features. Get that tip removal, right? And then place it in again. Now, the only difference is with the regular holder is these slots in the back here on the micro iron. These are for holding your tips only. They're not meant for, like we did with the regular iron, they're not meant for putting it back in. Why? Why is that? That's because these are micro irons, and micro iron tips, the tip ends of these micro irons are they're very fine, they're very fragile, delicate, so you don't want to be pushing down, and that may cause some bends and end up damaging the tip ends. So you don't want to do that when it comes to the micro iron. When it comes to the micro iron, simply remove the tips here that they have placed in the holders. They should already be cooled off, ready to go, so grab them. Make sure the station is off and then place it back in. Right? You still get the receptacle adjust capability like you did with the standard iron holder. All right, so those were the standard and micro irons along with the T39 standard series of tips, along with the T50 micro series tips, now able to use on the new FX-971 soldering station. Okay, so let's dive into the station itself, shall we? I am going to connect one of my standard irons, make sure I get some power. Let me see what tip I have here, D52, that's fine. Okay, make sure that's in all the way. And then let's turn the power on. Let's go this out of the way. There we go. So, right off the bat, nice larger LCD display when it comes to display on the 971. Different from the conventional display that we saw on the FX-951. All right, so not only a larger display, but now you see the degrees Fahrenheit displayed on the display. Right? So there's no confusion if you're using Fahrenheit or Celsius. There's no confusion anymore. You see that degrees Fahrenheit displayed there, and you also have the set temperature down below, 750, and you also have the live sensor temperature in the larger numerical value up at the top. Right? So set temperature, sensor temperature up top. So you can tell when I take my iron, place it in the sponge, you can see it respond accordingly. Right? Okay, so that's to start off with a big difference when it comes to the 971. Now, basic operation. How do I change the temperature on the 971? Easy. There's a button called the temp button. That also acts as like your enter button. You want to go ahead and press that down. There's a temperature icon that pops up. The set temperature down below, it's going to start to flash, and from here you can use the up and down buttons in combination with the enter button to make your preferred changes. So for example, I'm going to change 750 to 660. I'm going to change that 7 down one time, hit enter. I'm going to change that 5 up one time to change that to a 6. Right now I'm already at 0, so boom, there you go. I just changed my set temperature from 750, excuse me, down to 660. Okay. Now there's another way. It's an easier, faster way, in my opinion, to change the set temperatures, and that's by using the preset feature. You can access the presets by pressing, guess what? The preset button. So you hit the preset button, there's P2, and as I scroll through, 3, 4, 5, and back to 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So with the FX-971, you can program up to 5 different presets into the station, right? And you can also choose to turn on or off each of the 5 presets. I'll get more into detail into that in a minute when I go over the software. But right for right now, how to change the temperature, you just go to the preset that you want, hit enter, boom, easy. Right? If I want to change it back or change it to a different temperature, go to preset, go down, boom, easy. Right? So using the preset feature, that's an easier, faster way that you can change your set temperature. Again, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can use it using the temperature button, or you can use it by using the preset feature. Okay, now let's get moving right along. Sleep. What's this sleep button do? If you press that sleep button, bam, goes into sleep mode. You want to wake it up? You can press that. Or you can simply pick up the iron. Right? Now that's an added feature. It's a new feature we have put into our newer model stations, and we have also put into the FX-971. Now the other way you can activate the sleep is after the pre-programmed amount of time that you set into the station. Default 6 minutes, but say it's 3 minutes that I changed and put into here. Then after I put my iron away into the iron holder, after no like pressing the buttons, after no movement of the iron, after 3 minutes, then the iron will go into sleep mode, right? And then it'll drop that temperature down to about 200 degrees C. You can actually program or change that sleep temperature time as well if you go into the system parameters. So that's that sleep function. You can activate it by pressing that sleep button on the station, or by simply putting the iron away onto the holder, let it rest for whatever amount of time you have programmed, and it'll go into sleep mode. Okay. All right. So that was the temperature button, the preset button, and the sleep button. Now what's this offset button? If I press that, there's a plus or minus icon that pops up on the left-hand side of the screen, and it says -13. So right now, I have a -13 offset input into my station. Offset feature is right out of the package. Say for example, in the case of the 951 and T15 tips, out of the package, those tips will be within a certain tolerance, plus or minus 15 C or plus or minus 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, you can expect the T39 tips to do the same. But the offset feature, what it's there for is if you want to bring it within a tighter window of your set temperature. Now, the way you use that offset feature on our previous stations is you would have to go into the offset mode, and then like I'm doing now, you would have to enter the offset number manually. That was the way on our conventional stations how you would enter and use the preset feature. Again, you would have to obviously take a measurement of your tip temperature, right? And then you would have to manually enter that offset value into the station. Now, what I'm about to show you, it's a cool new feature that we have on our 971. But you can send that information. If you use one of our thermometers, whether it's the 100B, FG100B, or whether it's the FG101B, you can send that information and the station will automatically calculate that offset value for you. So, what am I talking about here? What is this guy talking about? Man, let me show you. So I'm gonna go ahead and take a measurement. Have it set to 660. Wait for the temperature to stabilize. All right, so set temperature is 660, and I measured, what, 676? So already it's within that plus or minus 15 C or plus or minus 27 F. It's already good to go, but if you would like to get that closer with it to the set temperature, that's when you can use the offset function. And this is the cool new feature. Like I said, you don't have to go in here and manually enter that information anymore. All you have to do is press that offset button one time on the station, and then on the thermometer, there's the send button. There's also a IR sender and a receiver on the station. You can send that information, boom! Wireless offset capability. The station automatically calculated that information and it adjusted that value for you. You don't have, anyone doesn't have to do that calculation in their head anymore. You don't have to worry about someone mistakenly miscalculating the offset value. You don't have to worry about someone going in and accidentally putting in the wrong offset number into the station. You know, you use one of our thermometers, you use the 971, you use that wireless offset feature, it'll automatically do that for you. So that's new feature that you'll get with the new FX-971. I think it's a really cool feature. Very useful feature for anyone taking tip measurements on a daily basis. All right, so those are the basic functions that you'll find on the FX-971. Now I know I've been talking a little bit for over 15 minutes now, so I'm gonna go ahead and I wanna show everyone, let me bring this back to 750. I'm gonna show everyone just a quick comparison between the FX, let me wake up the 951, between the 951 and the FX-971. So let me bring this camera into view. So let me see if I can give a quick comparison. Does that look all right? Okay. So here on one of the, I'm going to first use the FX-951. It's a D24 tip shape. The temperature set to 750. I already measured it before, confirmed that it's at 750. So and I'm just going to do a few joints here. Oh, by the way, it looks like this on the other side. Some connectors. pins, some heavy coils here. And then these spots that are highlighted, those are like heavy ground demonstrations. So just to give a quick comparison, right? So here we go. 2, 3, 2, 2. Okay, not bad, right? Not bad. Let me move over to these other heavy pads. About 9 seconds, okay. Nine, 10 seconds. And then these other heavy ones. 13. Okay, so that was using the 951 station. It's a 75 watt station. I'm using the 2027 handpiece, the D24 tip shape, 750 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, now I'm going to take a different board. Put that in place. Light in frame. Cool. Now I'm going to take a 971. And then I'm just going to double check the temperature on the 971 for a minute. I have it set to 750, by the way. Alright, so 748. So 750, 748. So let's see how it reacts. Okay. Not bad, not bad. Let's go over to these other ones. About 5-6 seconds on these ones. Nine. From here. The other ones are easy. Yeah. So you can tell, especially on these heavier coils over here, you can tell the difference. With the 951 it took about 9 seconds. With the 971 it took about, what, 6 seconds? 5 seconds? 6 seconds, right? And that's using a standard tip shape. What I like to do is stay on this here for a minute. I'm going to change out a tip because I want to just give a quick demonstration. If I change a tip to a, what do you call it, optimal tip shape that I would like to use on a pin like this, or a connector, or these coils, pins like this, I changed the tip shape, right? And I changed it from a flat chisel to like a tip shape that looks something like this. Let me see if I get that in focus. Right, you can tell that there's a groove in between the shape, right? And it's called the BCR24. 1, 2, 3. That's more like it. See? 1, 2, 3. All right. So by changing the tip shape to your particular application, this BCR24, it's one of the 67 tip shapes that we have available in the new T39 series of tips. By changing the tip shapes, you'll be able to speed up your application because it's going to transfer the heat a lot better based on your application, based on tip shape that you use. Tip shape, the way I look at it, they're like tires on the car. They're going to help transfer the heat to your application a lot better based on the different tip shape that you choose to use. All right. So that was the quick comparison I wanted to show you guys for between the 951 and the 971. All right. Now moving right along, let's get into go back to the station real quick because I want to talk a little bit about system parameters. On every one of our stations, there's system parameters that you can get into where it allows you to access certain settings. Like for example, you can get into system parameters and access the sleep time feature. You can turn that on or off. You can change the sleep times. You can turn on or off the auto shut off feature. You can choose the time on the auto shut off. You can change the units from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius, for example. There's a bunch of controls that you'll have access to once you get into the system parameters. Okay, and by the station, within the station itself, the way you get into the system parameters is you first of all turn off the station one time, press the up button, turn the station on, and then there you go, the 01 flashes. And then the 01, the number here below, those are all of the different, as I scroll through, these are all of the different parameters and parameter numbers that I'm going through right now. There's a total of 13 different parameters that you can get into on the FX-971, and there's different ones. Like I said, there's sleep time changes, shut-off times, password lockouts, changing your preset temperatures, turning on or off each of the presets. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. And you can go through each and every one of them using the station. You can read through the manual that obviously comes with the station and understand by looking at the manual what parameter 1 is, for example, and then you can do it that way. I'm not going to do that with you guys today because there is a much easier way you can go about doing this, and that's by using the Hakko Control Software. So let me plug in the USB port here to the station, and I'm going to turn on the station, and then give me a couple seconds to turn on my laptop. All right. Okay, so this is my desktop on laptop. You can see 971 pops up. I go ahead and click start. And this is our new Hakko Control Software. Right, up at the top it says Hakko Control Software. It's connected to the FX-971. There's an ID you can put in. This is ID to the station that you can put in. Status is running. The preset number that it's currently at, the set temperature that it's running on, and the offset value that we put in previously by using the wireless offset feature. This is my current set temperature. These are my preset numbers and my preset temperatures down below. Now, before I get into any of that, I just want to show you real quick. Remember, I said getting into the system parameters by using the station. You can do it a lot easier by using the Hakko Control Software. This is where you do it. System parameter settings. You open up that window. You have access to your parameter settings. And from here, like I said, you can change your sleep on or off. You can change the sleep time, for example. You can change the offset shut-off menu on or off. You can change the shut-off times, for example. You can choose to turn on or off your error alarms, your ready alarms. You can use a password lockout if you wish. You can put in a new or different ID onto your station. And over here, you can change your set temperature, right? For example, you can change your offset values, right? You can change your preset temperatures on each of your preset 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can change your preset temperatures here, like so. You can turn on or off each of your, or maybe not all, or you can turn on or off your presets if you wish to, right? And once you made the changes, you can load that information onto your station, right? So watch here, by pressing the confirm button, and then what you'll see is, you'll see the system, it says system set. I just loaded this information onto my station. Now, you can also save a particular setup, right? And then you can recall that later. That you can save it, first of all, by clicking the save button, give it a whatever name you choose to, and then click save. That's the way you save it. Now, if you want to recall a previously saved parameter setup, then you just click the load button. Let me bring this parameter basic up. Open that up. And now you see it's back to 5 minutes, back to 30 minutes. Air alarms are off, 750s, 510s, back to 510s, and all my presets are on. And after it's loaded onto my parameter setting page, I just confirm it again. And then there you go. Now that, again, the parameter setting, everything has now been loaded onto my station. All right, again, this is the easier, faster way to make system parameter setting changes. Instead of having to go through the station and manually entering the buttons, scrolling through everything, you can use the Hakko Control Software. It makes that system parameter setup a lot more easier, a lot more faster. Now, what you can also do by using the control software is, by using the system parameters, is, like I said, you can save and load. So if you have multiple 971 stations, you can create a particular parameter, right? You can save it, load it onto one station, and say you have 5 or 10 different stations lined up on a particular line. Then you can disconnect it, connect to the next one, and you can load it onto that next station and repeat that process and create a line that has the same exact parameter setup on all of your 971 stations. It's a very nice, useful feature to be able to use by using the Hakko Control Software. Again, that was the parameter setting icon here. And then also, you know, these are buttons like the temperature control button. You can control or change the temperature if you wish, right? This is the offset feature. You can change the offset here if you wish, right? Same type of operation. Oops, sorry about that. Same type of operation that you were allowed to do on the station. Again, you can do on using the Hakko Control Software. Now, this is the other feature that I want to show you. It's called the Auto Cal feature. Bring that up. It says automatic calibration, set condition required to start. So I'm going to click this button. And this is where I set my conditions for my Auto Cal or the offset. I can set my tolerance. Right now I have it set to plus or minus 10, right? Number of retries, you can select that, change that if you wish. And then if you have the FG101B, where you can measure the leak voltage and tip to ground resistance, you can record that information as well. Once you're done making your settings, hit confirm. It says set conditions required and start. So I'm going to press start. Timestamp pops up. It says after measuring the temperature, send it by infrared transmission. So I'm going to now use my FG100B and I'm going to make a measurement. Okay, temperature stabilized. 750, my measured temperature was 762. So, if you remember just a while ago, I set my conditions to be plus or minus 10 degrees Fahrenheit. That's outside of that range, so watch what it will do when I send that information. It says changing offset. That measured temperature was 762, and the offset that it was input was minus 12. And then now it says, after measuring the temperature, send it by infrared transmission. So it's asking me to please take a measurement and send it again. So yes, I will. and then just wait for the temperature to stabilize. And now that's 762. If with the offset, now 71. I'm going to send that information and watch what the screen does. Result, pass. So that's our auto cal feature. Once you're done, you can stop. You can click the history icon if you want to go back and look at the history. You can search it. These are all of the different histories that I've done within this date range. You highlight it, it'll populate the right-hand side of the screen. It'll tell me I measured 762, measured after the offset number that was actually input, all that information that you can see while working through the auto cal feature. Okay, now I'm going to stop this. I could close it. There's also another way that you can take a look at the results. It'll also save it in a Excel format. Sorry, that's an Excel file, like a CSV format. It'll be under auto cal result. Let's see, 24, that's 971. Open that up. And then here are the results that I've done today. The latest one, time was 11:39. So this is probably the latest one. Right here. The station ID that was input, the handpiece that I used, the date and the time that I started, the result, pass, my set temperature, my temperature plus or minus range that I input in here, temperature before when I initially measured it, 762, and the temperature after the offset value. So again, this is recording that offset information. That auto cal feature is recording all that information for you. So this is very useful for anyone who is already verifying tip temperature, right? Using a thermometer in a station, they're already verifying tip temperature, but they're having to maybe they're having to write it down. And from that written piece of paper, they're having to transfer that information to an Excel format to store it digitally. You don't have to do that anymore. It eliminates that step completely. By using the control software, you'll be automatically saving that information automatically by using the Hakko Control Software. Very nice new feature added on to our stations. Now, this side of the screen on the control software, it's a graph display of the sensor temperature. So right now it's staying steady at 750, but this is the tip temperature pretty much, right? This also you can choose to record the tip temperature data if you choose to. Right now I have it set to autosave, so it's automatically saving this information. Every time I turn on the station, it's automatically saving that information. And you can also find that information by going into, what is it, temperature? Yep, temperature. And then the latest one is probably here. And like you see here, it gives you the date, the time. Oh, this is the wrong one, sorry. Different one, but what I'm trying to show you is that it pretty much can store and record that information again in a Excel file, like a CSV format, temperature and times. It's going to be recording that information. As long as you have it set to auto record, then it'll constantly be recording your tip temperature data. And from here, you can choose to use this data however way you wish to use it. Okay, so that was the graph temperature display. Again, you can choose to autosave, or if you don't want to always be recording, you can do stop record whenever you want to record your tip temperature data. So that is the benefits, the features of the Hakko Control Software. Again, it makes the parameter setups, duplicating the parameter setups from one station to another. It makes that process a whole lot easier. Plus, you can record the auto cal results. You can record tip temperature data. That's a new feature that you'll get with the FX-971 Hakko Control Software. The software comes included with the FX-971, so there's no additional cost that you have to pay to be able to use this feature. Again, it's a great new tool to be using. Okay, so overall, FX-971. It's an improved station, improved performance, improved user interface, new hand pieces, new series of tips, new design station, new design iron holder, just a whole bunch of new added benefits and features all packed into this nice compact station that you see here. Really excited for this product launch coming up in March 1st, 2023. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, but that's all I have for the 971, right? I hope I was able to show everyone not only the difference between the 951 and 971, but the new features, the new benefits when it comes to the 971. So I hope I was able to tell that to everyone. Thanks again for everyone watching in, tuning in to today's webinar. I appreciate everyone's participation. And again, March 1st, look out for the new FX-971. I appreciate you all watching in, and I'll see you next time. Remember, keep your eye on Hakko.